Welcome to another Tech Tuesday. It is I, your host, Matthew the Body Kemet Mueller, reporting to you live from the center of the volume photography universe, Minneapolis, Minnesota. I always feel like that intro, sometimes it gets so long that by the time we get on, I just want to be like, well, I think that's enough content for the day. But thank you guys for joining me for another Tech Tuesday. I'd like to bring on board my other fellow board member and also really nice guy, Nick. How are you, Nick? So Nick and I are kind of here. I know that this is like Tech Tuesday, and a lot of times when I do these, I try to bring on like experts or people from like Captura or Got Photo or you know who we've never had on a Tech Tuesday yet, Nick?
Who?
We've never had Photo Day on.
Oh, we should get Wayne.
Yeah, we should get some people from Photo Day on to go through their stuff. But we kind of try to bring in, a lot of SPAC vendors and people, and we kind of give them an opportunity to pitch what's going on in their world and kind of the new tech and the things that are changing. But with the fact that it is the impending busy season right now, I just wanted to bring Nick on so we could kind of, for lack of a better way to put it, just talk a little trash, talk a little stuff about what's going on this season and what's changing up. So Nick, I with the help of my very good friend ChatGPT, came up with a list of questions for us to work through. And if anything inspires you along the way, please let me know.
Perfect. I also prepped my number one season start tech prep item.
Oh, let's do it. What is it?
This is a Lexar 32 gigabyte flash drive.
Okay.
It has on it every printer driver, every like scanner driver that we need, every piece of software that will ever be installed on one of our laptops that's out of the chute, and it lives with me. And we have one that lives with every other lead photographer.
Oh, that's great. I don't think we have that. And that's probably something we should get on the move with, because that's a great segue, because this year is the first year we're shooting tethered.
Yeah, totally. And when you shoot tethered, you're going to plug in some printer, and then all of a sudden you're missing a driver, and then you have to like get on Wi-Fi at the school, and it's a nightmare. This will prevent a lot of issues down the road for folks.
Well, thank the Lord we don't do on-site ID printing.
Yeah.
So that makes me happy that at least we don't have to worry about the printers. But I am concerned about just in general, when you have like stuff go awry, having all those files on you is really important. So for us, the big thing this year that's different by going to shoot tethered was we realized that our camera setups are different. And so like how we shoot, the formats that we shoot in, like having one on JPEG, one on RAW, as opposed to just having both on RAW. It's kind of some differences on that. So the one thing we kind of did, it's a little bit of a Steeler move, was I ordered a bunch of 1 gig SD cards. Okay. And I have all the Sony settings preloaded for shooting tethered and for shooting environmental or sports, so that we have a way to go through and set up all the cameras on the same settings. We did this with our graduation stuff too, because it's like we want a certain focus mode. We want to turn off review. So there's all these different things. And so it was always just a mess to make sure that people, because otherwise you're all sitting there, okay, go to the purple camera.
Number 7, tab down 5 times. Yeah.
And somebody's going to mess that up still, and it takes forever. And so one of the things we did, kind of stealing that idea, is the SD card loaded presets, but I'm totally stealing that idea from you. Speaking of going tethered, I feel like I've been kind of chastised by a lot of my peers, including you, for not going tethered yet. And I'm excited. Mm-hmm. I'm nervous.
Yeah,
it's our first year. Jessica was making a lot of fun of me because I was lamenting about the expense, and she goes, well, when you change anything and you have 40 stations, it's a lot of money. So some of the things that we are proud of setting up for our tethered station, we got some cool I'll try to find them and maybe toss them up in the comments. We got some cool laptop like mounts where they pinch in onto a light stand. The light it holds the laptop on a light stand. We had a bunch of light stands.
Okay.
A bunch of these Komodo Blue was the brand, but essentially they're cable stoppers so they won't get jerked out of the laptops. We
Okay.
bought new tripod plates to put the tether cable through. So
Oh, I love those ones. There's like the little clamp on the Arca Swiss.
yeah, it was like $11 on Amazon. And so so we ordered a bunch of those stuff. So we're excited for it. But what do you think is going to be the biggest surprise for someone who's never shot tethered? What do you think is going to be the biggest thing that's going to get us this year?
So the one thing that you will be cursing your life with, because it's gotten me before and it's super annoying. The one thing to do right now, like probably about a week before you start shooting, is turn off automatic updates on your laptops. Okay, because what will happen is you'll go shoot a job, everything will go great, and then you'll bring it back to the studio, and it'll upload the images or whatever to wherever the heck they're going. While that's happening,
sending a Teams message right now.
Yeah, while that's happening, Windows will download like whatever the current update is. Like it'll be a lot of security updates and various things that happen for Windows, and it'll download it. And then your photographer will say, "Cool, everything down or uploaded," and close the laptop. And then you'll go to boot it up, and it'll say, "Oh, cool, we're just going to install these updates when we reboot." And you will be sitting there with like 12 staff members at 7:45 before school starts, and you're like, "Oh, I hit the button on the computer, but like I gotta wait like 20 more minutes for it to finish this update because for some reason it's taking a billion years, and it'll be the longest 20 minutes of your life."
Yeah, no, that's a good one. Plus, I actually was thinking a different thing with that. I was just thinking about the inherent, like we used to do photo booths a long time ago. That was like a part of our business.
Sure.
And every once in a while, like Windows would update, but the photo booth software wasn't updated for the new Windows. And so then you'd have like printer driver issues or software issues with that. So that's where I was even just thinking about the time lag of like when you turn it on, like that sucks for sure.
Yeah, we've had occasionally like a random Windows update that's 25 minutes long, and then all of a sudden you're behind like 2 classes at the start of the day.
Yeah, well, I just sent Evan a Teams message. He said on it. All right, so we're excited. We are going barcode scanning off of student IDs. Okay. Almost all of our schools have the digital IDs on their phones. So we dabbled with tethered last year. So that's one of the big shifts is we're no longer going to have the big booklets of QR codes. They're going to be able to use last year's physical ID, this year's digital ID, whatever they got, and we'll scan them in, or we search by name. So I'm excited and nervous to see how that goes. Because I feel like it's a little bit of a shift in timeline. Like historically, we used to go and like photograph, Wayzata High School, and it would be these big binders, and kids would have to get in line to get their QR code, to get in line to get their pictures taken. Well, now there's only one line, so hopefully it speeds up kind of the consumer experience. But I'm aware that it could also, like, we're kind of stacking ourselves a little bit. We're putting one extra photographer on all of our shoots this year just to make sure that if it does take a little bit longer, we get through it. So we're switching to tethered. What else are you changing this year? Because we are also shifting up our lighting.
Okay.
So we decided to simplify our lighting this year, which is kind of the opposite of Tech Tuesday. We are going old school tech. And we used to always run 3 lights. So we had like a 60-inch umbrella, and then we'd have like a 20-inch fill, and then we'd have a Westcott 1x2 that we kind of flip vertically. We'd shoot it over the shoulder, so it was like a hair rim light. Yeah. And it worked really well. But when it came to setup, even with our like magic carpets that we set down, you still want to make sure everything's dialed in. So you were metering in 3 lights. Now we have gone old school and we are shooting one big umbrella and two silver reflectors. And so now there's one light to make sure that that is dialed in, and all of the reflective light should be self-fulfilling. So we're gonna see how that goes. It's how some of the big guys do it. It's actually how we saw a lot of, like, Jostens uses big huge brick or big huge reflector walls.
They have like a big foldy thing, right?
Yeah, like a V flat wall. Yeah. And we looked at some of those too from we talked to Brandon over at Westcott to see if that would work for us. And they didn't have anything that was like quite perfect. So we ordered from a new company called Photo Deox, something like that. So we'll see how those work out.
Is it photo with an F? Okay. I feel like I had some really cool, like it was like a silver lined tube that you would put over like a speed light and turn it into like a strip.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I feel like that was the brand, but whatever. Interesting lighting of old.
Yeah, we're just trying to figure out some ways we expanded. We grew this year. We grew about 10%. And we were looking at kind of changing our kits up. And I really liked the way that we have been doing our lighting. It's been good. But I think that it's getting more, I think it's complicated. And I think things that are complicated need to get simplified the bigger you grow. And so we're trying to speed up the setup time. We're trying to simplify the gear. We're trying to make sure that the consistency is there without the manual measuring of every single light. So I believe we did a lot of testing with it. And it's similar to how I used to photograph high school seniors back when I only did like the custom portrait work. Right. So should be good.
Yeah, I don't think any school is ever going to complain of you being set up faster and having the images more consistent.
Yeah, well, and it was another thing we kind of took away. So we sent Carissa out. She worked with a friend of ours. She went and saw Mike Norkin and some of their training. And one of the things that was so interesting that she came back motivated for our guys is she's like, they are set up in 10 minutes. We will be set up in 10 minutes.
Why are we taking so damn long?
And so she's like, we will be set up faster. And so it was a fun thing to watch that kind of get ingrained. All right. How did your training go this year? Did you do anything different for your training?
So, yes, we did a couple of things different for training. And we have different locations. And so we're still training one of the locations. And so, but what we've done this year is we actually brought out a really good friend of mine, Victoria Shoulders, who used to own a studio in Tennessee, to deal with a lot of the senior training, because we picked up so many high schools. We wanted to really flush that out and kind of like just make it a overall really good experience for everybody. So it wasn't anything super crazy with training as far as stuff with, it was more like partner work kind of stuff to make it good. Our big thing, which goes back into the Tech Tuesday, is lining up with training, is that we're getting very consistent shots from senior to senior and really dialed in how we are doing our in-camera cropping, which is just a little bit wide, so that when the software picks it up later, it can recognize it. And we're having senior images from their sitting up in about 15 minutes.
Well, that's crazy.
Yeah. So
that's crazy. Yeah. We, one of the other questions I get asked all the time is whenever I talk about training, the questions I always get asked is how many people are you hiring and where did you find them? So what is your crew at this year?
If you added all the locations together, we're probably just under 60, somewhere in the mid 50s, somewhere around there. And
we are at
we're running about 35 cameras consistently, throughout the season. But then, when you add extras and other people on staff, it's around 50.
We're getting bullied right now by my friend Birdie.
What's Birdie want to
He,
know?
he's like, I should just jump on. Yeah, you should, Birdie. Jump on. Here's the link. Okay. We ended up we had our total staff this year, we're at 58.
Yeah.
And so we had a couple of things we did differently this year is we had a guy, Dylan, who used to work for us. He was there for several years. And Dylan kind of spearheaded a lot of our training stuff. And he moved on to kind of out of the industry, a new career, which is great. We were excited for the time that we had with him. But when he worked for us, he was really big on, we did a lot of our hiring, most of our hiring on Indeed.
Right.
And now this year, one of the things that we did a little bit differently was we wanted to try to recruit people from specific areas. Like we're like, oh, we are in this part of the metro a lot. Wouldn't it be really great if we got people that lived here? And on Indeed, that gets really hard because you end up having to file like different
You have to
jobs.
make 12 different posts for each neighborhood. Yeah.
And
No,
I
it
didn't
sucks.
want to kind of compete against ourselves on it. And so we just kind of had a Minneapolis, St. Paul metro posting. But what we did was we just made yard signs that said we're hiring and seasonal work. And then we went and we put them around at Targets and other places around the metro in the markets that we were trying to pull from. And so what was cool was we made our QR codes on it trackable so we could actually see how many hits we had coming in off of it. And it was surprisingly good. So we got several employees that were hitting directly off of the yard signs that we were putting in, which is not something we had done before.
Yeah, no, that's awesome.
Well, to track it. So that worked a lot. And our training this year, it was funny. So over the last several years, I'm playing less and less a role at like the camera training and less a role in the digital training. And as people are taking ownership of their departments, but
Your
it's funny because
culture baby is what you are.
I love it though, man. I'm like just beating up the hospitality books and all the stories. So it's fun. But the other thing that we did this year in training that I really liked was I feel like inherently people want to do a good job. Like everybody wants to do a good job for you. Nobody's there to half-ass it. But I also think that sometimes people don't understand how we got to the answers that we got to. And so what we ended up doing this time was in one of the pods that I ran, we had handle it myself, ask my shoot lead, I need more information, and escalate it to the studio. And so then I would ask questions. And then it was like, well, why did you get to this answer? And so it was a really fun way and hands-on to be able to be like, okay, so a parent comes up and says, I hated my pictures last year.
You say,
how do we handle that?
I'm so sorry about that. Trust me, you're going to love them this year. Let's go get you in line. Mom, come back over here to go whatever.
Yeah, my favorite question, which was actually ironically like a trick question, no one got the answer right, was a teacher comes up to you and says, you are 10 minutes behind schedule and I need to get these kids back to class. What do you do? And so it's escalate to the studio. I need more information. Ask my shoot lead or handle it myself.
I mean, it would ask the shoot lead, but if you are being the shoot lead, then you say, then you got to say, oh, I'm so sorry. Let me figure out where we can adjust the schedule.
Nope. I said the correct answer was get more information, because you are surprised how many times I get told I'm running behind schedule. And I'm like, no, I'm not.
No, we're not. This is the schedule the secretary gave us. Yeah.
Nope. We're totally locked in. And so everyone always assumed it as like, we got no problem. The answer is always like, we're going to try to get people out as quickly as possible. Of course.
You just need to know why.
But I might not be late. So that was cool. So another Tech Tuesday thing. I don't know if this has happened to you. It actually impacts Jessica and Carissa much more than me. But we get a fair amount of people that like reach out in the morning. We always want to be accessible to our shoot leads and to like we want to be there for people. And sometimes they'll call at 5 a.m. and sometimes that's rough. And so
hold on, let me boot up the computer.
Yeah, and sometimes it's just questions like, especially if you are a new shoot lead and maybe you just haven't been in these situations, and so of course you're a little bit panicky as it starts. So we're trying to create more of a community amongst themselves. So we picked up these.
Oh, nice.
So these are nationwide walkie-talkies.
Okay.
And so all of the shoot leads are going to have them. So before they call me, I want them to be able to get on their walkie-talkie and say, "Hey guys, I'm at this school. Has this ever happened to you?" And I'm trying to encourage them to kind of be a community amongst themselves.
I think it's a good one.
But they're like $50. These walkie-talkies are like $50. I actually had to get Jeff Allen to buy it for me from Walmart, and they're cellular.
Because you wouldn't set foot in a Walmart.
No, I don't have a Walmart. I'm from Minnesota, man. We're a Target. We're a Target until we die. All right.
So along with that Tech Tuesday and stuff is a good thing for people to start prepping right now at the start of the season. Is we are a big fan of shoot reports and making sure a shoot report gets turned in every shoot. And we are tracking all of that historical information. So when your shoot leads get to a shoot and they say, "Oh man, where the hell's the breaker panel for on this, elementary school auditorium?" They know where it is and stuff. And so start keeping track of all that historical information, I think, for people out there. It's really
what is in your shoot report?
I mean, it's nothing crazy. It's who was at the shoot, what's what job it was, what type of what school, what type of job it was, who was at the shoot, did everything go well, was there anything you needed to figure out, like the breaker panel or whatever, anything like that. And then we do have a thing for action items that'll get kicked back into the office. Yeah. So inevitably you're at a shoot and some teacher comes up and says, "Oh man, I didn't get my staff ID on, the staff ID day that we were here. Can I get one?" And so you make a note that says, "Hey, print Miss Johnson her staff ID," and send that as a one-off thing in the mail. So
we have something similar. We do post-shoot evals.
Yeah.
So the post-shoot evaluation, probably similar concept, just a different name. But one of the things that I did, because you're right, we kind of started doing them, and I was surprised at how impactful having that information became after the next year. When you're like, because way back in the day when it was Chelsea, Jordan, and I, we'd be like, "Oh man, how did Tonka United go last year?" I think it was like,
or you ever scroll back in your phone to be like, "Where the hell did we set up on this field in this park?" Yeah.
Well, and also we were a tiny company, man. We had 3 big shoots a year, so it wasn't that hard to remember everything because we were broke and tiny. Right. So as we started growing, though, I was surprised at it. So one of the things we did this year that is different is we pay mileage to our photographers.
Yep.
And now the only place for them to submit their mileage claim is at the bottom of their post-shoot eval.
I like it. Make sure everything gets turned in.
So if you don't turn in your post-shoot eval, you don't get your mileage. And I want you to get paid for your mileage, so do your post-shoot eval. So that was a big hot take on, or I should say one of the things we changed up on our stuff. All right, one of the other things, talking about, it was funny too, because we were talking about low tech. I think that one of the most underrated things on how your photo shoot or how your photo day goes is setting up a good flow. And I think that you can have a shoot at one you could have the same shoot at the same location with the same kids on the same day with the same number of photographers, and it can be the biggest disaster of your life, or you can be on easy streets simply by where you put the cameras and how you control the flow of people coming in and out. So one of the things we realized, we had a school last year, high school we worked with, and the flow wasn't great. And it was a really stressful shoot, and we ended on time and everything was good, but God, it was way more work than it should have been. And so we started kind of paying attention to that stuff. So I stole this one from I believe your guy Jay Boatwright. So we ordered up Kemet Mueller photography tape
when you rope them off.
Yeah, so we're roping off a lot of our kind of the funneling them in, which I think was a great thing. We made sure we did not get yellow because I don't want it to look like a crime scene. Yeah. So we got black and white tape with our logo on it. And then again, I've only ever bought 2 things from Walmart in the last few years of my life. And I had Jeff order me up some low tech plastic ultra lightweight stanchions,
Okay.
and so that they're easier to haul around. And so we're pushing the structure of how, like, where the actual lines are, and having it filter in and filter out, and get in, get out, get your photos done. So I think that's kind of one of the big things. Do you have any big things that you are doing for helping to control the flow?
So we use like pendant flags for all of our youth sports for controlling flow out there. When we're out of the school, we don't generally like rope stuff off, just because we use the space to kind of define where it is a lot of the time. So, it'll be things like the two photographers are on the stage, and the kids go up one stair, down the other stair, that kind of thing. Or they sit in the front row of the audience while they get their pictures taken and stuff. But I think it's always handy. We always have cones in the van. So each van has the set of cones to get and say, hey, just wait here or whatever. Like, and having that as an ability to just drop a cone and say, all right, you kids go over to that cone. You kids go wait under that tree. You kids wait over here is a big thing. Megaphone, always a big fan of a megaphone.
Have you ever used those little belt clip ones?
Hell no. I want a
they're
megaphone.
amazing.
I like it because I don't want it to be ambient noise. I want it to be very specific that there's somebody yelling on a megaphone. And so I'll give it to Kaylee, and she'll be like, hey, all you coaches, you need to get over here. And they see the person with the megaphone yelling, because if it's on the belt clip, they don't know who it is.
Gotcha.
So we always a big, dumb looking megaphone. And I think that really helps as far as crowd control. Like, obviously, you don't do that in the middle of the school day, but for some stuff, you can do it. It's also, we wrote out a spiel for people. Like, we have a script, and it's a loose script for people, but it's on our Google Drive. All the photographers can see it and say, hey, if you are the lead photographer that day, you're greeting the teacher. This is how you greet the teacher. You line them up this way. You send them to the other photographers, and the photographers actually have to wave back. There's a call and response in it so that they know who the photographers are. And so they go through this whole spiel. And I think that really sets, at least in the elementary schools, it sets the expectation of what is going to happen during their pictures. And it takes away a lot of the worry and anxiety that you might have as a fourth grader or a kindergartner, of like not knowing what is picture day. What am I doing? Am I going to look cool?
Yeah. All right. Just a couple of questions here. I'm going to rapid fire some of these, and I want to know what's your sports look like this fall?
Busy. It's a lot of soccer.
Okay.
And yeah, we're not doing anything crazy. It's Pixnub, editing, and selling lots of poses, lots of download all.
We have a lot of our sports in the fall it's substantial, but it's kind of our smallest season. It's the one we tend to try to grow the slowest, because of all the competition with our photographers for schools. But we are sitting pretty good on sports. What's the biggest bet you're making this fall?
High schools.
High schools?
Just going into high schools. Like, we picked up 15 high schools between the two studios. Okay. So, it's a lot of high schools. The other bet that we're doing with it is high school sports. We're doing more high school sports than we've ever done before, and actually trying to sell it, unlike before where we were like, oh yeah, we could do a sport for your high school. Like, now we're pitching it as a specific thing.
My biggest bet this fall, I'm trying to make sure that flipping tethered makes sense for us, that we're hitting big gains out of it. Yeah. I remember I talked to Tim McCain about it, and it's like just kind of shifts some of your work around. So we're asking more of our photographers, and it's going to kind of shift some stuff. So I'm hoping it works well. That's kind of my biggest bet, because we put a lot of time and money into that.
Yeah, it's you're not going to resell those laptops later, so you better hope it works. But
what is something you're doing this year that you weren't comfortable doing 2 years ago?
This is a non-tethered item. We're gonna
Okay.
try it. Okay. I have a stack of tablets here that I was setting up earlier for photo day capture in kiosk mode. So
Okay.
much like you were saying, where the kids can, scan their old barcode or whatever to check in for the shoot, this is closer to, something out of airport where it's going to be up on a stand and they click their name and they say, I've checked in for pictures. And then they go on to the photo station.
Yeah. Awesome. For us, obviously the biggest thing we're doing differently is I kind of touched on both of my answers, which is shooting tethered, which is something we've never really done, and something that would be anxiety inducing for me. And then I think I'm letting the reins go a lot on the training, and it's really fun to see how that's been going and kind of seeing, it's ultimately the goal is always to get people trained in and ready to go. And no one's ever going to do it as good as I do, of course. But we've had Carissa's a real close second. Jessica's amazing at her job. Josh is in there killing it. So it's fun to be able to watch these people you've worked with for a long time, and you get to see how they want to teach something. And when you're still trying to get to the same goal.
Yeah.
What's one thing you're worried about that's going to bite you in the ass? That could bite you in the ass.
Slow senior portrait sales.
Okay.
Of what is the timeline of getting those from dropping all your money, spending, 30 minutes a session and all your payroll, to the amount of time before people say, oh, they're graduating, and actually order.
That's fair. I think in general right now too, the economy's still kind of weird. Like,
That's super nuts. Like,
I think everything's been weird though ever since 2020. So I think we'll get through it, but I think there's like the economy's kind of weird. Stuff's kind of on shaky ground, seeing where that is. I think that's fair. I think the biggest thing with us, biggest thing that's gonna bite me in the ass. I don't think it's anything new. I think the biggest thing for us is making sure that like we that people follow the guardrails we put in place, so that when like stuff gets changed and adjusted, that the lines of communication are proper, so that people know that they're not leaving it out there so stuff doesn't get handled.
Yep.
What is one lesson you learned last fall that caused you to actually change something this year?
Ooh, lesson from last fall that caused me to change. You know what? I'm gonna say that it wasn't a lesson from last fall, but previously we had butchered our workflow trying to make our remote offices work, and it was a nightmare. And last fall was finally the time that we got it dialed in. And now this is the growth year because it's dialed in. We know that we can expand with it working. So
yeah, I think for us, something we learned last fall that caused you to actually change something this year. I think last fall we kind of workflow comment for us too. I think we realized that there were far too many steps in our workflow, and it was just kind of too disjointed. So we did a lot of retooling to simplify our workflow, and because we'll never take a step back on quality. We don't want to take a step back on quality or speed, but we still wanted to maintain that level that we had been doing at the speed we had been doing, but with less steps. So that was definitely some things we changed.
That's along the lines of where we were at, where it was just like our initial stuff, there was too many steps and you couldn't grow with it. And so now you simplify it and you get it all done and you just keep going.
Gotcha. 2 more questions. We're almost done.
Sure.
We're gonna get back together and chat in November. What is one thing you're hoping you'll be able to say worked?
Oh, these high school sports. Okay. I set a goal of $100,000 worth of high school sports. We're going to see if we do it.
Okay. High school sports. We've been doing high school sports for decades. And the big thing that we have always focused on with our high school sports is it's hard because some of them we have pretty good orders with pretty good clients with pretty good it's the thing that can happen with high school sports if you don't have a good relationship with the people who are booking it is you'll get picked apart on I'm going out to do
20 tennis kids.
And then so it's but you go out and you set up and that takes a while and you take it and you have a good picture day. And of course you do the job you should do, but then you're it's hard to get somebody to go out and work for an hour. And
I called them in for a 4-hour shift because that's the minimum. And they took 12 photos.
Yeah. You get picked apart on that. That can be hard. For me, I'm hoping they'll say worked. I would say that it's our new procedures and workflow was that we thought enough ahead of time to get it dialed in right. And finally, last question: what is one thing you're working on that I didn't ask about?
We are starting to deploy some agents to work on our back end of stuff to monitor things that we just don't have time for. And so there's an agent that I was just talking about putting together, and it will do things like make sure, double check in the calendar consistently to say, hey, do we have any fall jobs on the books that don't have makeup days set? Or, hey, it's X number. You shot this job last year. It's 8 months from now. When do we rebook baseball or whatever? But there's a little AI agent that babysits the calendar. A little AI agent that makes sure the images all came back and we're accounting for things. So we're starting to deploy some agents into our system.
Smart. Yeah. I mean, I think that's the big thing that a lot of companies that I'm talking to, and myself included, is just kind of working on our own little pieces of software. I think the big thing that we've been working on, you and I have talked about it kind of offline, but I've been building a field guide for our guys this year that gives them access to all our training videos and training modules and scripts, and did you do your post-shoot eval, and this is the steps to set up, and this isn't working, how do we troubleshoot that? And so building software, I think, has been something that's been kind of consuming my life, but it's also way too much to talk about on a Tech Tuesday.
Well, I think that we can also say that there's going to be a lot of people building software out. I'm inundated with everybody's vibe-coded little apps that they've made for their industry. But the thing that I will say as the education director is that we are having an AI training class as part of SPAC's pre-con this year. And so anyone that is saying, hey, we didn't get into that on Tech Tuesday should do the pre-con, because it is very AI heavy specific and will be specific to all of our industry stuff as far as the AI training.
I'll be in it. I'll be in it
too.
All right, brother. Well, thanks for hanging out. I appreciate you.
No problem.
All right, everybody else, we will see you in a month. Let's get out there. Let's start kicking ass and working our way through this school season. We'll talk to you guys soon.
Have a good season, everyone.